How's it going, guys? Professor Octavio right here. I am gonna ink some stuff for you today. Any of you like Star Wars? I saw the movie a couple days ago. It was awesome. Oh my god. Well, just a couple days ago. I saw it a week ago. Anyways, my sketch is of Finn from Star Wars. Obviously, in the Stormtrooper outfit, his suit, whatever. Opening that up, opening the sketch I did in Photoshop, and making it bigger to fit my artboard. Now, what I'll proceed to do now is I will go into the transparency settings and change that to 40, just so that I can barely see the sketch, while still being able to trace on top of it with my brush. I forgot how big my artboard was, but I even the 2-point brush seems big to me when I draw. That's why I usually go very big because I like thin lines. But I guess what I'm doing worked fine, just fine for me. So just to note, this is a very quick line art process that I'm doing. Don't really like to take too long on something, especially if it's late at night, because I was working on this for like just an hour and a half, and it was 4 in the morning, and I'm like, if I don't do this now, I'm not gonna be able to do this for like another week. So I'll be busy. As you can see, I'm just drawing the eyes, the line art for the eyes. And don't be worried if your lines don't come out great. You can always fix them with the direct selection tool. I believe that's what it's called, or the group selection tool, whatever that is. That looks funny. That looks funny. I reflected the other eye, and it made him look derpy. Oh boy. Anyways, fix the eye. And right now I'm thinking, those eyes look too far apart, so I'm bringing them closer. What I like about inking digitally is that you can always see what's wrong with your sketch, and you can always go back to it. You can always adjust some lines that you don't think were right in the first place, and you can make your illustration look overall better. Go with the nose. Right now what I'm doing is I am filling some black spots, but as you can see later on, as you will see, you will notice that I will not fill any more black spots, any like deep dark black spots, any because the stormtroopers, they have this like dark under clothing. I should say dark. It's black underclothing, and I'm not gonna fill any of that. So I'll explain why that is later once I'm actually filling it in. Yeah, don't be concerned if your lines don't come out, the way you want them to at first. You can always adjust them, like I already said. Like, this is just a quick sketch for me, so or quick line art. So I'm just going, just drawing. Yeah, let's make that shape real quick. Let's draw that line. Bam, boom. Let's add some detail to the face. Detail can go a long way. Like, really, just like a few tiny strokes like that, it will add something to make your artwork like pop just a little more. You can see I didn't film the hair. We'll do that later though. Because what we'll end up doing is I'll fill it in later, but because it's to save time. Because if I fill it in manually with the brush, or if I stop drawing and fill that in, it's just gonna take too much time away, and it's gonna take pretty much my flow away, and the whole illustration is gonna take longer for me personally. I get very distracted, so usually when I like to do a drawing, I like to do an illustration, I will do it in like that day, or I will not sleep until I get it done, because I will be distracted. I will be like, you know what? I'll see a cat video, and boom, inspiration gone. Just outlining the armor parts of the whole suit, adding some detail. And I'll say it again, I'm gonna keep on saying it, detail goes a long way. But there's also a thing as too much detail, so always be careful as to how much detail you add, because it can be really good for you or it can not be good for you. As you might also notice, my lines don't have that much varying thickness. Like they do, but they're very minute. You can't really tell where like the lines thicken, where they not thicken. You can see in some of my lines, but difference is not too pronounced. And you know that's all right. That's exactly what I need just for this. Like I've done other work where my lines do have to vary in thickness greatly, but you know this is quick, like I said. Again, not filling in any black parts, leaving them empty just for now, save time. What I like to think of when I do my line art, it's like, hey, I'm doing something for a coloring book, because that's exactly what it looks like. Again, detail goes a long way. I really like that line. That was a good line. The kind of is that what I'm doing right now? Is that on the? I don't. I'm not even sure if that was on the actual Stormtrooper helmet. Like I think I just added that on there. I'm not sure. But sometimes I like to add a few things that I know will like make the artwork, you know, look a little better, even if it's not based off of the reference. For this, for example, I used an action figure that I found on the internet, and then I used several pictures from John Boyega's face that I found on Google. Like I normally don't trace. The only times I would actually trace is when I'm actually doing some like illustrating job for a client where they basically need like, hey, you know, I need this vectorized, I need this specific artwork replicated into a vector format. I'll be like, all right, and what would be is just have to trace. But just because it's tracing doesn't mean it's simple, you know. I mean, it could be, but most of the time it's not that simple. But I'm getting off track. Back to Stormtrooper. Shoulder pad. As you can see, I'm almost done with the torso, somewhat. And I'm pretty sure you can tell that, like at this point, I don't really care how my lines look. Yeah, because like see, I wish those lines were straighter, but they're not. And eventually in the end product, like you're not gonna be able to tell my mistakes. Like the only reason like you would know if my mistakes if I told them to you. That's why sometimes I don't worry about my lines too much, because some mistakes are hardly gonna be noticed. You know, unless you're being judged by like a professional artist, then you know most people are not gonna notice. So if if you're self-conscious about your lines or your overall artwork, I would say don't be. You know, everybody makes mistakes. You know, there's always room to grow. I mean, it's a year and a half ago, I would not be able to do anything like this. I barely knew how to work Illustrator back in the day, and I barely knew how to ink traditionally too. Oh, I also ink traditionally if I haven't mentioned it yet. Yeah, so I don't like to just be bound by digital illustration. I have to also be able to do anything that I can do on the computer. I want to be able to do on paper. I don't even know what this video would be categorized as. It's not a tutorial, that's for sure. I mean, I am giving some helpful hints, but it's more of a narrative, I'd say. I mean, just so you can get the idea of how I do my lines. Maybe, you know, it'll help you, you know, be like, hey, you know, my artwork, my lines don't have to be that good, you know, for me to create some. Because, you know, what used to happen to me was my lines weren't that good when I was starting out, or when I was younger, basically. And I get so discouraged to draw, like, oh, I can't make something that cool, you know, like, why even draw? And, you know, it's not a good feeling, but and eventually I got out of that. You know, I started to draw and not care about my lines, and I realized that it doesn't matter how good your lines are; it just matters how you present the artwork, how you I don't know, how do you say it? It's not present; it's how you it's how it looks overall in the end. You know, like, for example, this gun that I'm drawing right now is horrendous. If that gun was by itself, like with no background or nothing, it will look horrendous. But I promise you that once it's done, once I have the final product to show everybody, nobody's gonna notice that gun. They'll see it and they'll acknowledge it's there, but they're not going to look at it in that level of detail where it's oh, that gun is bad, that ruins the whole thing. You know, no. But yeah, after this, I'm done with the line art. I probably color this, but that'll be a different video. Just seeing how this goes first, you know. Sorry about my squeaky chair. It's very squeaky. Well, I guess this is the actual first video that I'm uploading with my voice. I should actually maybe say some things about myself. I am Octavio, like I already said. I am a graphic artist and illustrator. I say graphic artist just because I also do graphic design, but I don't. I'm also an artist. You know, I don't just put text in front of something. I don't just you know, I don't just make book covers. I don't just make ads. I don't just make flyers. You know, I can also render illustrations. So that's why I mean, professionally, I'll call myself a graphic designer, you know, like on the web, my website. But that's just for like SEO purposes, so people can actually find me. Because, you know, most people, if they're looking for somebody like to hire, they'll put either illustrator or graphic designer. Anyways, getting off track again. That is one of the things I do for a living. I also have an actual job here in Vegas. And I'm from Lima, Peru. That's way down south in South America. Pretty country. Machu Picchu and all that junk, you know. That's really where my interest in all this artsy stuff, and art basically came from. I used to watch anime when I was a kid, and that really inspired me to want to create comics and draw overall. Anyways, back on that freelance note, it goes all right, I'd say. I get to do what I like, but it's it's fun in that sort of way where, you know, you're like, how do I explain it? It's when you have a dream, and, you know, you're living that dream, but at the same time it's also a nightmare. That's what it is. Like, what I really want to do is I want to get into animation. That's what I've been wanting to do since I was a kid. That or comic books. I'm just finishing up the shoe right here. As you can see, you know, I'm just filling out some random shapes to make it look nice. Make that shoe look like it's an actual shoe, and it's part of the whole getup. You know, I don't even think that's what the shoe looks like, to be honest. Well, I think that's what it looks like, but it's not an exact replica. I think it's just like a shoe inspired by the real Stormtrooper shoe. But like I said, it's not gonna matter in the end. It's gonna look great, or at least you think it's great, and in reality, that's all that matters. It's your work. You do it. You know, I mean, unless somebody's paying you, then you don't have to worry. I might say that this whole freelance thing, it's a nightmare, but it's fun. Imagine that them soles, them shoes, adding some detail on the knee area. Again, nothing big. Lines don't have to be perfect or straight like that. But sometimes you do have to go back and fix them eventually. That's if they look too wacky. See, and once I'm done with the work or the overall basic line art, I'll go back and be like, hey, you know what? This needs a little more detail. Let's work on that. Let's work on this thing, and that's what I'm doing right now. Even though they're like just little lines, they'll go a long way in the end. And see, I missed some detail right there. Going back and fixing that, making that line thicker because it was very thin in the beginning. Yeah, that line looked a little funky, and I'm just fixing it just to make that shit look better. That's a nice knee pad. That looks good. In my opinion, that looked really good. Yeah, see, that gun still looks bad. But I promise you that once you're actually done with your work, like if you do it right, it's gonna look like even the things that you don't know how to draw and they come out looking bad, they're gonna play a small part in your work. So it's like people aren't gonna notice that it's not good. Not that it would be not good, but you know, what I'm trying to say is that you're the artist. You can make it look good, even if it's not good to begin with. That look good. Doggone. What I'm doing right now is I'm expanding the work so that I make my lines into shapes. And that is great because, especially if you're sending your work to a printer, you know, they might accidentally keep your files. They don't actually have the actual line work file. That's what I think, at least. And as you can see right here, see, I didn't fill in, I didn't close some paths. So I gotta go back. Alright, just closing, testing my brush first, then I'm closing the path, and I'm closing the path right there too. Now I can go ahead and expand it, and I can merge it with a white background so that I can change the color in every single shape, basically, individually, as you can see right now. Starting with the hair, turn it black, bam. Neck part, bam, black, bam. Yeah, and that's a very easy way to just color all those like black parts that would take otherwise forever to do on your own. See, that gun is looking a little better once you add that black to it. You know. So basically, what this is, right now inside the lines there are white shapes, and what I'm doing is I'm clicking on those white shapes and I'm changing the color to black. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going to add some detail to the black parts, so they don't look so boring. But as you can tell, I'm making mistakes here. Like I do not like these lines. And it looks like there's a mushroom growing there or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I was thinking because I didn't realize how bad it looked until a little later. The helmet looks good though. I'm adding a little too much detail everywhere. It looks, it just looks, it doesn't look good. White on black tends to have a different effect line-wise than black on white. And then as I decided to take a different approach. I'm not gonna have that many lines like I did, and I'm gonna make them a little thicker. You know, just to show that where light's coming from, I guess. Not really. I'm just taking a guess on where these lines go. Yeah, just adding some detail on the kneecaps. Just make it look shiny. You know, like there's actual clothing right there. You know, it's all good. You know, nothing perfect, but overall, it's looking like a real illustration. So. Like if you're an artist that's barely starting out and you only have if you only have done things in pencil, um, you might want to start doing things in pen. I mean, if that's what you want to go for. Because I noticed once I started doing things with pen and ink or digitally inking my artwork, it made things look a lot better. And that's one of the reasons I actually started being more active with my art. And it's not because, you know, illustrating in Illustrator is easy. It's somewhat easy. It takes away, like if I had done this in real paper, it would have maybe taken me 2 hours, maybe a little longer. It just saves time, really. I mean, I can do this definitely on paper. Again, I messed up right here. See, people mess up. So it's okay. I think right here I'm getting a little too carried away with the hair because I want to make it look like it's got some shine to it, kind of like, you know, when you add lotion to your hair, you know, and it's shiny. But oh yeah, that don't look good now. In the end, I decided to just take everything off. I think I'm gonna try again. No, yeah, that's done. All right, thanks guys for watching. Yeah, put up more videos. I'll cover this later. Have fun. Bye.